and seasons. The key to maximizing seasons, even seasonal relationships, is to discern and to take advantage of the blessing and the benefit. Listen, look up, let me teach you something. There are some of you who grew up with aunties and grew up with uncles. Some of you grew up in families that may not have treated you well. Some of you are even working jobs you don't like, and you are wondering why God put you there. Realize that you are there for a season. Instead of complaining, the stopwatch is counting down. You may be there with your auntie and your uncle, staying with them. They may not have treated you well, but God is using that season to build stamina in you so that you can survive any other thing in the future. Instead of complaining and getting angry, discern the season, because one day what you are running away from today, you will miss it when the season passes. I would always give this example. Have you seen little children who want to be adults by force? You come back and you find them trying to act like mommy. They will carry mommy's cloth and wear, and it's flowing as if they are an angel and they are happy. Sometimes they try to do what daddy is doing, and may God not help you that your child finds a car key and goes to open the car, and his leg is struggling to touch everything, and he's just doing whatever he can do because he thinks the seasons are too slow. He will wake up and find out that he's 50 years old and miss those days and wish he could go back. An example of what I'm talking about is you. Who would believe that you have come this far? I had the privilege to see one of my dear people who trained me growing up, and my goodness, he was an old man. I saw one of my pictures one time and I couldn't believe it. I said, this is a joke. You mean I've grown like this? Where am I running to? But what you do with seasons is what determines whether you will go far or you will remain where you are. Is God teaching someone now? So a quick recap, that there are 3 levels and 3 kinds of relationships. Number 1 is what? General relationships. Your interaction with your environment every day. Number 2, seasonal relationships. Number 3, the highest level of relationship, and this is the one that lasts throughout the lifetime of your destiny. They are called destiny or covenant relationships. Please write it down. Destiny or covenant relationships. What are these relationships? They are relationships that have a role to play in your life all through your lifetime. For as long as you are alive, those relationships should remain. And these are the relationships that you should pay any price under God to maintain, because something about the overall picture of your destiny is connected to those relationships. Is God speaking to someone? An example of destiny relationships is your prophetic connection. An example of destiny relationships, your relationship with your parents. An example of destiny relationships, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your children, and then your relationship with strategic friends, connections, mentors that God brings to your life. Woe betides a man who does not invest in destiny relationships. You may never be able to actualize destiny. I want to say something respectfully speaking. When you see people in old age, isolated, frustrated, with no help whatsoever, some of them will give excuses like, I didn't have the opportunity to go to school. I'm sorry, but I disagree. It does not take education to invest in relationships. It takes honor, discernment, and humility. How can God give you a gift of 40 years, 30 years, 50 years, and there is nobody on earth who found you relevant enough to connect with you for destiny? You must be a dangerous person then. Someone somewhere should like you enough and be willing to say, I believe in you and I see you an advantage to my life. This place is quiet. I'm sure God is speaking to you now, because some of you are about to destroy destiny relationships. Some of you, that classmate you met is not just a classmate. There is something connected to destiny. For some of you, this ministry that God brought you is not just an option just because you are, it is destiny connection. Now let me show you what happens when we do not discern destiny relationships. Are you ready? Genesis 13. Let's continue from where we left off. We'll start from verse 7. Remember the story. God called Abraham and Lot went with him. God prospered Abraham and God prospered Lot who went with him. But something started happening. Pay attention to my message now. The Spirit of God is speaking. There was a strife between the headmen of Abraham's cattle, and the headmen of Lot's cattle. Can you imagine? Both the one who carried the promise and the covenant and the one who followed became so blessed. But with every blessing and with every lifting, there are always issues. The Bible says, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt in the land. Next verse. Verse 8 says, and Abraham said to Lot, let there be no strife. Please follow carefully. I pray thee between me and thee. He said, and between my herdsmen and thy herdsmen. Why? For we be brethren. Verse 9. He said, is not the whole land before thee? Separate yourself. Now there is a problem. You know what Abraham was telling Lot? It seems like now you don't even know why God blessed you. Because you followed me, you partook of the grace upon my life. Now you have increased and you did not mentor and train your people to know why God blessed them. That it was a destiny connection that brought the blessing. Let there be no strife. Go. He said, separate yourself. You never allow this to happen over destiny relationships. This may happen for general relationships. This may happen for seasonal relationships. But when it has to do with destiny relationships, swallow your pride, because we are about to learn a lesson from Lot now. Are you ready? Please give it to us. Separate yourself, Abraham told Lot.